Welcome to episode 9 of our series Back to Basics Business Technology Platform. Episode 9 is explaining how all the solutions we've talked about in the previous episodes from 1 to 8 can be put together in order to bring the best results for the company. Now, this exercise is very complex because the solutions can be seen in different ways. Therefore, episode 9 is basically composed in 3 episodes. So we have decided to give you 3 episodes, 9A, 9B and 9C, because the solutions put together can be seen from an technology perspective, can be seen from an application perspective, and of course can be seen from a solution deployment type of architecture. Welcome to episode 9C. In our journey into the data world, we mentioned multiple technologies and numerous domains of application. One by one, we enumerated categories of products with various topics requiring attention of any data management decision maker. It is now time to assemble them all and try to see how they can integrate efficiently. Obviously, it is not possible to provide a single and simple architecture to articulate all the data inside a complex organization. If we look at how applications are built, we find typically 3 layers. We find the database and orchestration layer, we find the application layer and the front-end layer. In the front-end layer, we find everything that has to do with the user interface. In the application layer, we find everything that has to do with the business logic, with the functionality the end users want. And in the database and orchestration layer, we typically find everything to store the data and use it, exactly what we explained during this series of video. If I expand a little bit those 3 layers, if I zoom in a little bit, I will find typically 7 layers. I will find 3 layers for the database and orchestration, these layers being the database itself, the modeling and the orchestration. Again, refer to the previous videos of this series to find the explanations about those layers. At the very top, the front end, I mentioned there business intelligence. Business intelligence comprises here reporting, analysis, planning, predictive, consolidation, and report publishing, for instance. In the application layer, I firstly divide this one by 2, having the standard different from the development. The standard is basically all the standard applications one can purchase on the market. The development are the applications that a company, an organization develops on its own. In the standard applications, I make a distinction between ERP and DWH, meaning data warehouse. The ERP is the standard enterprise resource planning type applications, and the data warehouse is the standard data warehouse type applications that the end users will use. Now, if I look at all these 7 layers, the next question is, how do I typically deploy that? Again, we've mentioned that a couple of times in this series of videos. The deployment can occur in the cloud as it could occur on premises. Cloud being the new trend, the new way, because more flexible, because again, all was explained in the series, and on-prem because it's the traditional way and we will find on-premises installation almost everywhere. Now, this gives us a matrix about how to deploy what type of application or solution. And this matrix can be filled very easily with SAP solutions. We see here, for instance, that if we're looking for a database to be deployed in the cloud, that would typically be SAP HANA Cloud. If I'm looking for a way to model my database, a way to utilize it in the cloud, that would typically be Data Warehouse Cloud. If I'm looking at an orchestration tool in the cloud, that would typically be Data Intelligence Cloud. Where if I want to deploy it on premises, it would be Data Intelligence. The modeling on premises is probably going to be done with Power Designer. And the database that we want to use on premises are probably SAP HANA and SAP IQ. All these solutions have been explained throughout the series of videos. Of course, there are more databases, there are more ways to store the data, there are more ways to utilize the data even within the SAP catalog, but this is a simple view. In the context of modeling, there is a fundamental difference brought by cloud versus on-premises deployments. In the cloud, because services are managed by external partners, very low flexibility will be allowed by the solution provider. Therefore, the trend will be to offer pre-packaged models, on the contrary to on-premises deployment, where the enterprise is responsible of organizing the data and will need an actual modeling platform centralizing and publishing metadata. Now, when we look at the application layer, the standard applications typically for ERP, this is S/4HANA, whether you deploy it in the cloud or on premises. If we talk data warehouse, the typical standard application at SAP is BW4HANA. Again, cloud or on-premises deployment possible. If I want to develop my own application, whether it's closely related to ERP or BW4 or not, that would probably be SAP Cloud Platform. That's a cloud environment to develop applications. Note that there is no correspondence on the on-premises world because SAP doesn't have any deployment solution for non-extensions of ERP. Typically, the extensions and the development is done within the ERP. And if I'm looking at the business intelligence that I want to deploy in the cloud, I will probably go for SAP Analytics Cloud. If I look for something on premises, it will probably be Business Objects 4.3. Note that the business intelligence part here has not been explained in this series of video. Note that this view is not intended to be 100% complete, is not intended to be 100% accurate in the sense that only this solution covers only this layer. We mentioned a couple of times that the same solution might be used for a specific usage, but as well can influence other usages. Refer back to episode 9a and 9b. Note as well that all the above solutions are completely independent from another. Apart from S/4HANA and BW4HANA, both require HANA underneath. All of the others can be used completely separately. SAP always offers business content with the applications and with the modeling. And SAP always thinks enterprise, meaning that those solutions can be deployed for very small companies to very, very, very large companies. Now that we know a little bit more about the solutions, the types of deployment, I will see you next time in episode 9a, in which we will see them with an angle of the technologies. See you soon. Thank you very much for attending all this series of videos. Hope they were useful, and we see you next time for the next series of other videos. Bye bye.